What is going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome to the Fortnite Champion Series. It's time. It is the reboot round. Yesterday, we watched the semifinals take place where the top 6 trios across 3 different heats moved on to finals. Trios that placed 7th through 17th are all moved right here, right now to the reboot round. 3 matches ahead of us where only the Victory Royale matters. I couldn't be more excited, but you know else who is more excited, possibly more excited than I could ever hope to be? It's Reese and it's Levin. Boys, excitement meters?
Look, right, my excitement, you know, it's up here. It's up here right now. I don't think anyone can ever be quite as excited as you. I try to match that, but you are up here. But Reboot Round is so good. The last 2 seasons it was introduced, obviously, for trios in particular, and it's probably been one of my favorite moments throughout both seasons. So here we are again, 3 matches of it. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, like it builds for the most hype, right? You know, you look at when we all started playing Fortnite. You at home when you first started playing Fortnite. Now you're playing for the Victory Royale. You want to win the game. You're not worried about points. You're not worried about eliminations necessarily. You're playing to just win the game, and that's what this comes down to. Players are playing for the Victory Royale and nothing else, right? They want a chance to make it to the finals, so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be hype, and I can't wait for it.
Absolutely, and we'll get into those games in just a moment. We got to talk about a few little things before we can get there. So let's start with the overall tournament format. You guys know we start things in Europe. We go over to NA East. We end the day in NA West. Now, keep in mind, we've got 3 matches here, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter broadcast than you're used to. 3 matches in NA East, but in NA West, 4 matches. So if you like what you're seeing, come back for more reboot action. Now let's toss on screen this overall tournament format. Now, I know what you're thinking, Zeke, that's a scary graphic. No, it's not. It's so simple. Look, now we're in the reboot round. Boom. That's it. You're up to speed. Next week, though, finals time. But again, that's next week. Right now, Reese, Levin, we're in the reboot round.
We are in the reboot round indeed. And look, usually I go super in depth. We tell you what's been going on, the structure, but let's break it down super simple. We got 33 teams. Every single Victory Royale will fill up a slot in the finals. There's 3 slots available in the finals. 30 teams have already made it through the previous MCS, the qualifiers, and the semis. Now this is the last chance for teams to get through the finals. 3 games, Victory Royale from each team will put them into that finals.
And so what happens, right, is once you win a game, once you're one of the teams that wins, you will be removed from the pool of players. So once you win a game, you're not allowed to play in the next one, right? So there'll be 33 teams in game 1, then 32 teams, then 31 teams by game 3. And that causes for a lot of drama, a lot of, you know, sort of interesting narratives in terms of, you know, maybe you see a team win from a certain POI in game 1. You decide, okay, I want to try it in game 2, right? All these things will come into play, and we're going to be able to sort of break it all down for you. I can't wait.
Yeah, I really can't wait to see how this team being removed impacts the lobby. But we can't forget, going into finals next week, there is prizing on the line. Prize pools for every single region and the Axe of Champions on the line. Will players defend that title? Will someone else rise up and take hold of the Axe of Champions? We'll find that all out next weekend. Make sure you mark your calendars. Come back. It is going to be a crazy time. Now, speaking of those regions we just wrapped up, there are some regions that have already finished their games. They finished the reboot rounds. We can take a look and see how things are going. We're going over to Asia. We're going to be able to see which trios did get themselves the Victory Royale. Hero, Sana, and Peppo starting off game number 1. And you know, gentlemen, there's 2 other games we got to talk about.
There is indeed 2 other games we've got to talk about over in this region. We've got Maypori, Holt, and Umar won game 2, and then Sol Z and Nakaya won game number 3. So these guys have all made it through to the finals, and it was definitely like a real cluster for high ground. We saw it change over and over again, and in the previous 2 kind of seasons on EU, that's pretty much familiar to what we've seen. Some other regions a little bit different. So if this is anything to look at, what I'm going to say is our high ground in the end games is going to be absolutely, may I use the word shambolic, if we have players completely consistently going for height, taking it down, going over and over and over and again. I don't think it's going to be a clean end game height for a lot of these wins today.
Yeah, there's definitely the potential for that, right? You know, we could see a load of switch ups, but those are the 3 teams that made it through. They will be competing in the finals for Asia. And congrats to all of them, right? Because to not make it through heats must have been a bit scary at first, but to be one of the teams to secure yourself a spot during reboot round stage is definitely going to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in that final moments, you're just, especially like in game 3, right? You're like, if we don't win, we're going home. Hey, we won, we're going to finals. Everything is okay. But we'll see how this goes here in EU. Now, we got to keep the ball kind of going here. We got to talk about yesterday's semi-finals. In case you missed out on the action, we had 6 games, and it was the top 6 trios that moved on to finals. However, 7th through 17th, they are the ones that are going to be going into the reboot round. That's where the trios we're going to be seeing in today's matches. And we had 3 heats to kind of go through, talk about. And don't worry, I know what you're thinking, Zeke. That sounds like a lot. Reese 11, they're going to be here. They're going to break it all down for us, and they're going to make it easy to digest as we look at all of this information.
Yeah, so the first heat was heat number 1. And, you know, this wasn't a heat that we got to watch on broadcast because obviously it was a little bit earlier. So Red Rush, Exteriors, and Mappy. Huge performance, them coming out first. Remember, the top 6 teams that we've had here qualify themselves all the way through to the finals. So the top 6 teams that we see today are not going to be watching in this game, right? So that 7th down to 10th, teams are actually going to be one to look out for. But some games that were 11, they were so good.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, we didn't obviously watch it on broadcast, but if you know, paid attention to any of the viewing parties, some of the stream POVs, even just watching it in game, right, via the replay mode, you know, these games were great to watch. I think it was everything you sort of expected. A lot of the teams who you would have expected to qual as well did, right? The favorites of this heat made it through. Really fun to see that. If we sort of take a look there at that next page, though, in terms of, you know, who are some of the teams that will be playing in the reboot round from Heat 1, you can see from 11th to 17th is where you want to be paying attention to. For me, Reese, the one thing I want to look at, right, is that team in 13th, right? Eric, Wishy Washy, and Fly. They won a game in their heat, and of course, it wasn't enough to push them into the top 6 to auto qualify, but they've shown they can win a game in this sort of heats format. They've shown they can win games. If they can maybe sort of take that and use that today, maybe that's an advantage you look at, right?
Yeah, and that's something you want to be looking out for in our teams today, right? Particularly as we keep going through the rest of the heats. We want to be seeing for teams who have won a game, who have managed to make it through here, because they are the best potential. If we look over to the next slot here, right, for heat number 2, this is the one we did watch on broadcast. Team 7 down till 17th are the ones who've made it. And if you notice, Cartoon Kirby and AMK, Diablo Flecken and Diablo, last season's champions, all also have a victory royale here. So, you know, what you mentioned about that, we're going to be looking here. These teams definitely have to be some of our favorite picks to go on through.
Yeah, I think the big thing with this heat is, as much as some of the big names were able to make it through, right, like the Tayson and the Nates of the world, I think there are quite a few teams from this heat who you could potentially see winning games today via the reboot round, right? Seti, Kami, and Teak were a favorite coming in, and their style doesn't necessarily suit a team to go and win games, but in a high intensity scenario, they're going to be forced to, right? They need to win a game today to make it through. You could say the same thing as well for Airwax, Sky, and Vato, you know, and like you already mentioned, Diablo, Flecken, and Bayon literally won reboot round last season. They'll be looking to try repeat today. And that's definitely a possibility with there being 3 games now instead of 1. If you take a look at that next page, right, who are the rest of the teams making it through? 11th to 17th, once again, is where you want to be looking at. Rojo, right? Rojo in 14th, playing with Mick the Beast and Connor. He's somebody who has experience winning a reboot round game as well, right? That was back 2 seasons ago. It's going to be really dicey. I can't, you know, the idea of like making predictions of who's going to win is a really difficult thing to do. But yeah, we're going to figure it out as we go along. I'm looking forward to it.
Look, making predictions on these teams is going to be, you know, we've done it. Well, you know, we'll maybe not skip too far ahead. We've done it, okay. But like you said, I'm not super confident in any one of these necessarily because they are such teams. No, you mentioned Rojo's team, right? Now, Rojo, you'd think after the kind of 2 seasons ago, them winning, have that extra experience. Also, of course, the entire trio being extremely experienced there. But I hear there's some, you know, personal issues sometimes going on in there. So potentially coming into today, how is that going to impact their ability to get victory royales? But on top of that, you flip that round with Rojo being one of the smarter players in the community and be able to definitely understand and read the meta. It's difficult to predict how they're going to play in this situation, right? It's so hard to try and figure out what the rest of the teams are going to be looking like. But moving over to Heat 3, you know, this was another one that we didn't watch, but looking at the top, right? This is something I want to be very interested in. We're kind of moving a little bit away from today, but hi, Chris. Vortex and Knight managed to make it through with huge victory, but they also kind of took it away and are going to be contesting in the finals against one of our current leading champions as well, Hen Janice and Chapix.
Yeah, I think the big thing I want to sort of bring you back to, right, as we sort of look at the teams on this page who were, you know, for example, you want to look at the 1st to 6th who are the teams who will qualify through 7th to 10th. Those teams will be in the reboot round today. You know, you mentioned some of the personal issues teams might be having, right? Realistically, you got to put that all aside. All that matters today is you win your sort of your games, right? Or you live one of the 3 games. Whatever personal issues happen aren't necessarily relevant, right? You need to put that behind you and focus on just trying to win the game. So we're going to just see what happens 11th to 20th, though. There's a team here in particular, as someone from the UK, you know, I have my UK biases at times. Mexi, Michael, Verox. I am going to be rooting for them. I want to see them win it. You know, whether they can win it with, I'm confident in that sense. That's not the question. I just want to see them win, represent the UK. A big fan I am, so hopefully they can sort of squeeze their way in. Their team that has loads of experience playing in FNCS finals, and see them in the reboot round feels a bit wrong, if anything, Reese. Like, you would expect these guys to qual, so hopefully they can make it via the reboot round.
Yeah, and these guys have 12. That is 12 appearances in FNCS finals as a total, which is more than anyone in the lobby. So technically, these guys are the most experienced trio here, and it is it kind of, you know, it's a little bit awkward to see them here. We wouldn't really expect. We would see them in the finals, but they are actually contested in Dirty Docks against one of our last season's winners of the reboot round, which was Fleck and Diablo and Bayon. So at this point, we have an experienced team in one situation, aka the finals, against another team who's experienced in the reboot round, contesting each other in Dirty Docks. And you know what? They're one of my favorite teams to look at as well. I'm with you. I'm from the UK too. I feel like, although I'm a bit north, I'm Scottish. Look, I still respect the UK boys as well.
Oh my gosh, that is absolutely insane. Now we got some of we got some highlights coming in from these trios that we will be watching today. We're starting with Seti, Cammy, and Teak. Honestly, boys, a trio that I believed were going to go on through the finals already. I thought they wouldn't be here.
I think a lot of us did, right? A lot of us thought that these guys would have made it so far. They're a super consistent trio, which is kind of what we've been seeing through season on season. And they had a 5th and a 6th in the qualifier, so just missing out by 2 or 3 placements to be able to make it straight through to the finals. But their performance then in the heats yesterday put them at 7th or so. It's like these team is just missing the mark every single time. And what I do worry about this team is that they managed just to get 2nd and miss the mark again. They're clearly shown that they're one of the best teams, but they just keep missing that slot they need to be in.
Yeah, missing the mark is something that you can't afford to do on this day, right? Of course, Sky, Erics, and Vital are a very experienced team, a team who you could have definitely seen qualifying top 6. Of course, they missed out on that, and so what happens next, right? Can they sort of step up to the plate and really just sort of, you know, secure their way in, right? Kirby, Cartoon, and AMK, this is a team, right? Shisha AMK, these guys were impressive yesterday. They won a game. And once again, right, I'm sort of looking at yesterday's Heats games and thinking, you know, what team showed me that they can win games? This is an example of one of them. Whether that translates necessarily to a win on reboot round day is a completely different thing. I think a lot of it, Reese, does actually sort of come down to mental a lot of the time, even more so than the actual sort of mechanics of the game or the philosophy or the tactics. It is just sort of, do you really have your head in the game? Can you, you know, sort of fight against the adversity of just being 3 slots left? Who's really going to push forward and take that stance?
Yeah, I think like for this, a lot of these teams will be very, very nervous as well because they've played through all of the qualifiers, right? 3 qualifiers, and they've not made a top 3. Just for all these teams that made it here to reboot round, they played through their semifinals and in individual heats, they didn't make the top 6. So this is really that kind of pressure on last minute. They must get what is not an easy task of a victory royale as well. So it's like the pressure is really, really on for these teams. So for Kirby's team, like you said, got a victory royale yesterday. You've got to think that these guys definitely have an upper footing over some of the people who didn't, because, you know, guys like Kamisei Teak, who I've got a little bit of inside information that they have been learning a bunch of height retakes. They've been learning like properly how to play height over the course of the season, not necessarily just in the moment between yesterday and today, but they do know how to play height, even though they are necessarily a low ground team. So there are players who are experienced with winning games in terms of the height teams, which, like we said from yesterday from Kirby's team, or we have Kamisei Teak, who are adapting a lot newer strategies to try and play it right here in the reboot round to pick up the victory royale as well.
Oh man, you know, this is like gonna lead me into my next question to you guys, which is kind of like a double-edged sword a little bit. Like, so in things like semifinals and finals, we're so used to talking about like, oh, what POIs are contested, what's uncontested, what's this and what's that. But honestly, man, it doesn't matter. This is the reboot round. you have to just win the game. So instead, I want to shift this question a little bit and talk about win conditions. What are these like big POIs that these trios could land at to give them the resources or tools to put them in positions they can say like, okay, because I have this means that I have a win condition and I could potentially close out a game.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think that's the big thing that I'm sort of thinking about, right? In terms of, you know, like, it doesn't necessarily, we don't even know necessarily where certain players are going to land. Maybe they've sort of had their heats and thought that didn't work for us, right? We're not going to win games going there. It is just about the win conditions, right? If we do sort of take a look at the map, right, and sort of get an overview of where everything is and what POIs are going to be sort of necessary to find these sort of win conditions, right? If we can sort of take a look at that drawing board, let's switch on over. I know we're used to seeing it and highlighting it for POIs and what drop spots people are landing at. I think this week is going to be key to look at certain things like Catty Corner, not for who's landing there, but for the fact that you can get peppers out of Catty Corner, right? That's a huge thing, right? You know, if it's necessarily fishing, right? If you want to, you know, throw fishing by Slurpee, wherever it is on the south side of the map, you know, we know Kree's team is a team that necessarily will do that. Obviously, they're not here today, but that kind of thing, you know, these are the sort of win conditions to look for. If teams do have peppers, if teams do have floppers and other fishing items, you know, can they use that to help them secure wins? That is something to look for. But I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
You know what I'm gonna say, because I love drop spot beef. Not really. I love where drop spots, who's landing where, all the kind of mishmash, the mapping, the planning, the routes. Right here, you know what matters today? This matters. I've drawn off, I've missed. There we go. This matters right here. Every single place, every single game is what matters in this drop, because there's so many different options for you. If you're contested one game, you can move it up, because all that matters is the victory royale. If you're griefing your drop spot, what's the point? There's no need to fight off spawn unless you really, really have to at this moment. So wherever anyone is dropping, there's not necessarily the storyline all the way through the day like we'd normally like to put out. There's just where you go in and how's that going to set you up for the end game right now.
Thank you for this incredible breakdown. I'm trying to contain myself here. Okay, so we know it's going to be a little bit different, right, than what we're used to seeing, because it's all about these win conditions. And especially, I want to kind of touch on very quickly, like, your thoughts. If a team does kind of walk away the winner, how does this impact the remaining lobby, right? One team, like a high-profile trio, gets the victory royale, they're removed. Does this give all the other trios breathing room? Like, what's going to happen for people that have, like, never seen a reboot round before?
Well, there's a few things, right? So firstly, for Storm Surge, right, you're losing the team, which could, in some situations, mean that you're losing a team that drops near you, which means you're losing your Storm Surge strategy, potentially, if you're going to be going for tags on them. And also for the late game situations, you got to think, if they're like a really height-focused team or like a super low-ground-focused team who are always in a specific position somewhere, then you've got to think that position is now free. If they take height in 5th zone, it can be free this game, not necessarily free, because obviously there are other players looking for it as well, but you know they're not going to be just hounding for it every single game, so there's a much more availability for you to take it from there on out.
Yeah, I think that's a really big thing, right? I think when you look at sort of separating the top players from sort of players below that top tier, a lot of the time things like being able to prioritize positioning, timings of certain things are a massive deal in how games play out. If you don't have to worry about that team being there to out-timing you or to take the position you want to take, then, you know, you're in a much better position. So how this sort of adjusts from game to game is going to be interesting. Game 3 in particular is the one where I'm really like, oh boy, what's that going to be like? So big stuff to look out for.
Yeah, and one last thing we got to talk about is predictions. Now, Reese, you talked about it's kind of hard to predict who could walk away with the win, but I want to get your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I've gone with Airwax, Sky, and Vato. Look, they're a team that was definitely a favorite to qualify through yesterday. They weren't able to do it. I believe in the Frenchies. Allez les Bleus. Look, in the words of Charles Barkley, right? These guys are going to win guaranteed.
That is indeed a Charles Barkley quote. And I'm also going with the French. You know what? We're kind of representing here on the analyst desk, landing in French meadows right now of ZQ, Robads, and Leo. So looking very, very good going in. Shio is going with Diablo, Flecken, and Bayon. Last season's kind of winners from that. Who is also going against Sancho's pick of Michael Mexi Verox, contesting each other in Dirty Docks right now.
My goodness, I love it. You see, there's still a little bit of these storylines, right? We'll have to see how it goes, but for now, it is that time. We've got 3 matches of the reboot round ahead of us. Let's say hello to Shia Wager and Sancho West, our casters, for all of the action.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. It's Trial Wager and Sancho, and it's EU's Reboot Round. 3 weeks of quals, semifinals, a grueling experience, and now one more shot left where only the win matters to get you to the finals, Sancho.
And it is basically the 11th hour. And the good thing about this reboot round, Chayo, is that there's 3 chances. 3 trios will punch their ticket into the finals, and that is where they get to compete for $1 million+. I love this, Chayo. I love this.
Absolutely. If you've never watched Fortnite before, if you don't know how to edit or build, comp is kind of scary. It doesn't matter. Just to pay attention to the HP bars. Stay along for the ride. Whoever lives the longest in this game, who survives all the way till the end, will make it through to the finals. It's the most exciting games, and I can't wait to get started, Sancho. The drops matter so much, the fights matter across the map, and then all the way towards the end. We saw it last season. It gets intense in EU.
Not even that, Chayo, it's the details. Every build matters, every edit matters. We've seen it come down to literally one missed shot. We've seen it come down to the final blow, and that's what's so exciting, and by far my favorite time of the FNCS.
Yeah, usually there's just one chance, but if you end up winning one of the games, you'll just be taken out of the pool. The rest of the teams will have a chance to ramp up again. We saw it close out in a few regions before. They are the most intense games, and right now, the hype is already ready and overflowing for the teams that are dropping down. If you mess up off spawn, yes, there's another chance, but you're losing 1/3 of your opportunities to make it towards the finals.
I can't just imagine Chayo being in the trio's shoes right now for all the hours of scrimming, the countless hours of playing this FNCS. It's all coming down to these freak moments right now as Eric already gets knocked. So many, the feed is lighting up as Frozen Trio survives. This has been a skirmish that we've seen right here at Lazy Lake. It's about to pop off.
Blacky's already contested. There's an entire team here who's going to be looking to possibly disengage, because once again, none of the eliminations will actually give you points. You see that little golden axe there besides the names. That's where you usually see a lot of the trackers come up as to how people are doing in the tournament. But once again, it's so self-contained. It's just the win that matters. You want to get your loot off spawn right now and then move on, get the rest of your game going.
Good thing there's 3 more chances, or 2 more for those teams that went down, but these are our predictions right here, going toe-to-toe, as my boy Monster D-Face will say. Flecken's trio going against Michael's trio. No strangers to Dirty Dogs, and already somebody is knocked. Things are going to get quite spicy here, and the reason why I picked Michael's trio is they've been here before. They've made adjustments when it comes to the set lobbies. They were able to get into the finals by going to them down to Butter Barn, and I think if Michael's trio could be able to walk out of here, they'll be able to find some success.
Predictions aside, I'm just looking at exactly how Diablo, Bayon, and Flecken played last season's reboot round. They ended up winning the entire game, and that was because they just saw, you know, the clarity through the madness. When they were rolling in that end game, there were so many different things going down. Where they contested off spawn, I don't exactly remember, but once again, these teams aren't really going to be looking to absolutely fight. You will be seeing possibly some disengages. There could be a potential for an all-in.
Yeah, and basically it came down to a key siphon right there for the trio for Diablo, and it was so intense going down in Colossal as Huddy picks up a elimination on Rev, and some shots going their way here. Now, right now, Michael's trio not healthy right now in the HP. Diablo, Bayon, and Flecken looking really solid as Maxi goes for that harpoon to knock down Bayon.
It was just held up by one ramp. That harpoon just insta-breaks those builds, especially even Brick if it's still building up. So you're gonna have to back up a little bit. You'll see Diablo, these guys are trying to do a very fast strategy. They get an advantage off spawn, and they get to farm up too much. They don't have that many builds, and have to back up. This gives Mexi, Michael, and Verox a chance to be the ones on higher ground, having an advantage. You'll notice on the map too, this is on the edge of the entire island. There's nowhere to really go back here for Diablo, Flecken, and Bayon. They can keep getting chased, so they have to be careful and make a really good decision. They'll have to go through this team if they want to make it out alive.
Diablo's trio finished in 10th place in the semifinals. That's how close we all watched it on the broadcast for Heat 3, Heat 2, and for Michael's trio, you know, they had to kind of slip in the middle of the pack for their run here, but we all know the potential of both of these trios, and like you mentioned, Diablo already knowing what it's like to win in the reboot round. What I really like about this as well, Shayo, is 3 trios total will be able to move on through. And, you know, you can make some adjustments. We've already seen in the previous regions people going to other POYs where someone has won a victory royale, but look at that alpha stance up there by Diablo's trio.
I would not even say that's an alpha stance at all. They're losing so much out of this. Dirty Dogs basically has two different places to be able to loot. You have the main docks on the upper side and then this lower side of the secondary docks too. Mexi's moved over, stolen a lot of loot. We tuned in with Diablo before, didn't have much in their inventory at all. They're gonna be down bad moving on from here. They're gonna have to take some loot somewhere else. I'm not even sure how the rest of the map looks, but Michael, Verox, and Mexi, they're eating good out of this spot.
I mean, you may not say it's an alpha stance, but I say it's a come and take it type of vibe right here. If you want to go ahead and push me, you're gonna have to come and bring it. Hey, it's what it is right here, man. It's Reboot Round. It's not about getting Storm Surge tags. It's all about just getting surviving right here. And we'll see, man. They're both of our picks going head to head. I like to see where it goes from here on out.
There's similar spots at Lazy Lake as well. Blackie Wise Up, we saw them all the way on a very tall house before. Snack Pack Steelix, where did they come from over here? They must have looted maybe one house. I'm looking at Snag's inventory, just 2 guns. Two items actually just in the inventory, no utility. They're being so sneaky as everyone goes beside. I think Blackie might have spotted Snag. Yeah, he did, and he has to build. They barely have anything right now. Have a lot of materials, but nothing to actually make things work outside of bullets. We'll have to be careful. Steelix is building up. Wise Up, you and Black are kind of spread out here. This, I feel like, it's not going to amount to much in terms of a fight. But man, every single team looks like they're disengaged out of their spots. Looks like they don't have very strong loadouts. They're gonna have to do some type of damage as well to stay ahead of Storm Surge, which we'll explain in a bit for the game. But there's so many standoffs on so many POIs.
Yeah, Steelix is the kind of trio that's been floating around throughout the entire qualifiers. I've seen them down in Risky Reels. I've seen them all the way at the Spire. So no doubt, maybe they floated, and that's why they don't have strong loot there, Shayo.
Absolutely. So we'll see their adaptability. Maybe it's something that helps them out entirely. Maybe they don't have enough of a punch in fights and they go down early. Past the first initial calls that you were making, Sancho, for people fighting off spawn, no one's gone down. 32 teams playing right now, and only 2 have disappeared off the island. 90 players still alive. Let's explain that Storm Surge mechanic. So you can see the map, you can see the teams. It's also stacked. To make sure that teams are staying active, you have to deal damage or you get dealt damage by the server itself. So all these teams will be looking to move out, get positions of advantage, try to tag each other. If you're not active on the map, you can go down. The threshold we're looking at is 70 players to hit before that or after that second zone locks in. So if you make it a third zone and there's still 70 or more than 70 players alive, it's trouble for the rest of the server.
And also, let me kind of point this out as well. There's a lot of trios in this lobby that have no experience in the finals, and this is their only route to make it through. Cobra's trio right here is looking for that first opportunity, their first taste of their finals. As you see right here, there is experience, though. There are 5 teams that have played in the previous Reboot Round.
With all the history, there will be clashes too. A sneaky tactic from Couscous, Cobra, and Dids. They were trying to roll up on a Paxton and Sinks, but don't actually get the first drop. The awareness from every team is at an all-time high right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Lake is stacked with 4 teams now as well. Things are already getting close, and it's just the first zone.
I bet you the comms are right now are basically like at in-game levels. And can you imagine the comms at in-game will go supernova?
I'll back off here real quick. Man, the suspense for so many teams, still nothing. 20 people need to get eliminated in just about 1 zone. There's 90 still alive. We need to make it to 70, or that surge will start to strike on more than almost, 5 trios rolling through. So that's crazy.
Wow, I am so surprised over here. Teak setting Cami, this is what they do on the rotations, going to the green pits to replenish all their hard mats already getting hit. We saw in the semifinals, they got dropped on by Maestros, who is here in this Reboot Round, dropped on, eliminated, got 0 points.
As Sancho was mentioning before, that there's a lot of, inexperienced people rolling into the Reboot Round who might have not made finals. This is a team that is very familiar with making finals, right? Last season, 4th place, looking so good, rolling through and into the FNCS. This time, not making it past quals, not making it through to the semifinals. They were very, very close, did not have the gas needed to roll all the way through and in. This time, we'll have to win a game to keep that legacy alive. So I hope that top team can do it. Kaspersa, Fixie, and Zani, also very experienced, have somewhat of a more left side drop on the map. They're also, cool and used to winning games, but this is going to be a tough challenge for them to kind of overcome.
And you said experience, Shayo, and they have that Reboot Round experience in Chapter 2, Season 4. They finished 14th place. So they were there in the moving zones. They were there almost to get into the finals. And now we're taking a look at Craigie Cliffs all the way on the north side that is just barely in outside of the storm, and already Nako, it looks like they got a couple of fish out here coming up in Fish Island. Oh, Mini.
A lot of opportunity to get some
okay.
sick loot. We'll talk about it in a sec, but these guys are being hyper aggressive, making sure to take a team out before anything, and they kind of need to deal this damage. I was talking about Surge before. Not many people have got into many engagements across the map. You have to take what you can get. What Sancho's talking about is that on the water for Fortnite, you can end up getting a lot of floppers that help up with HP. They help you survive the storm. So it's a very good strategy for endgame. Nako's basically looking to take out teams who are exposed over there, get that free damage. He got some tags. He got clapped back. He'll have to catch up with his teams. He's doing a very risky strategy in Storm. While that's happening, though, Mako, Mexi, Verox, they've left Dirty Doc, Serhat, Kira. They're one of those teams that like to hunt other people down. They did it just yesterday, and now they're the ones getting hunted. Maestro's on high ground trying to save his team while they heal up. Merox, or Verox, Michael, and Mexi, they don't care. They want to go straight in. Big shot on a Serhat. He just healed up, got to some playable HP. Kira goes down on the backside. Verox is still looking down for the final shot, and he takes Serhat out of the first reboot round game.
Wow, Maestro's trio is out. Mexi, Michael, Verox disengaging down from Dirty Docs, avoiding that confrontation from Diablo's trio, making the rotation down to Retail Row and picking up some nice loot as well, because it's not about the elimination points. It's not about anything. It's all about replenishing your mats, finding that necessary shields, and hopefully upgrading your weapons, because you know you're going to need those power weapons at in-game, because, hey, one big purple pump could get you into the finals, and that's what we're talking about, Shayo.
No, absolutely. Yeah, when we were looking at, these games across the weeks, I could go and spit some jargon about how their points, this early fight is so awesome. If they continue it, it'd be sick. But we can literally just talk about the fact that they got another full POIs of loot. Their entire loadout's going to be upgraded coming in. This team, Kefi, Jachu, and Cubix, they're going to roll in with just, some normal loot, 100 AR, one fish in the inventory, a little bit of a med kit. But that team now has a double up. Still, doesn't matter what your loot is. If your position is so godlike to Crown, getting affected right now, big beams, no shield available on the backside, and a stink. That's area of effect damage. That's going to take him out in the builds. You can't defend against that. You cannot hide inside one box. Now it's a 3v2. Jachu, Kefi, and Cubix, they have the advantage. Gonna be rocking in looking for the pinch, but I don't really see his trio around him.
Yeah, no trio in sight right here, but Kefi, Cubix, and Jachu have a lot of finals experience compared to the trio that they're going up against in Crown. Crown already knocked, as Shayo said, and just now it's going to be another standstill moment here. We've been seeing in the EU region a lot of late rotation, so hey, you're going to have to disengage. Just move on out, get to the safe zone, and that's what Kefi, Cubix, and Jachu are doing. Now, being satisfied with just delaying that trio's rotation.
I'm wondering what the trade-off is, though. There's obviously a 3v3 going down. They got one full person knocked. That's about 200 damage, but then 3 of them lost shield. That's about 300. So I'm not sure if that trade-off works in their favor. They're going to have to heal up again. It's going to take a lot out of their inventory. They don't walk away with much right there.
And what we're seeing is Storm Surge being a huge factor as everybody's playing close to the chest. Everybody is being passive and making sure they're calculated as much as possible. As you're seeing Swipe here, another looking for the opportunity to be the first time in the finals. Swipe, Castry, and Vortex. Of course, Castry, an old school name, has been around for a long time. You're seeing the feed. Actually, Kefi goes down to a knock from the backside of Crown. So that engagement's not over yet. But this engagement's just heating up as Robots, Leo, ZQ are making their way down the mountain, looking to apply pressure on Vortex's trio.
More things dropping, so boxes are going to be tough to hide behind. Vortexers has 3 to clap back with as well. He was hiding in the storm while everyone actually moved over. Going to be low on HP, but what a flank he has. Leo takes huge damage. Vortexer, though, is a little bit wary of how his builds are looking and wants to make sure he's helping his teammates rather than looking for the angles. He runs into a stink in the storm. That's a huge boost on damage over time as well. Gas canister right beside him, but it doesn't actually hit when it blows up. 16 HP for Vortexers. Moving into the final box with Robabs, 14 HP now. He's one shot away to Surge. Takes them out. They didn't deal enough damage. Vortexer goes down. He was the last man left in his trio, and now we have a 3v3.
Yeah, the third party is here, and it is Snag's trio. And Swipe here is in a world of hurt as that Purpin Lightning Strike is striking down below. Only one person has to go down, and it could be Swipe. And he's going to try to out-heal as much as possible.
He's gonna try. There's so many fights going around the map. I see Zenny and Fixie rolling away. Fixie goes down to Storm Surge as well on the top left. Swipe just needs to hit one shot of this tactical shotgun onto anyone around him. He has no more heals left. He's gonna gamble with it.
Here it is.
71 players. He can't take any more hits. And wow, he goes down.
Shia, we all know that purple lightning also paints a big purple bullseye, a target on your back. And Robaz's trio and actually Steelix and Swag, they all had their eyes down on that. It was just too much there to hold on. You're seeing a little bit of the inexperience come through playing in a set lobby of this high caliber, but there's still 2 more chances for that trio to get into the finals.
That's basically the flow of the game. We're going to be watching trios roll around, make sure their loot is good, and then we'll get into another Storm Surge scenario. They'll have to check in and see if they have enough damage. They'll force teams to engage. We're talking about 70 players. That was kind of the first threshold. We hit that now. The next one's going to be 50 in about 2 more zones. So lots of freedom for people to move. I want to make sure they're getting damaged right now. Crown, Plains, and Dervig affected by that previous fight where I believe Crown went down. Right beside Link, Mosh, and Rotary, another fan favorite to go out and win one of the games today. They're getting desperate, though. They don't have that many shields. They're going up and close to Rotary's box. Link has a nice back flank. He had the position of kind of scouting what was going down. Now he has the chance to save his team from this big aggression. He's rolling in from the backside. Gets shot up while he's moving by another party. Everyone's looking for damage right now, Sancho. You got to be careful, even if you have an isolated fight.
Even if Link's trio is able to survive this engagement, look at the work they have to do to get in. There's always an orange triangle team sitting right there at the edge, and you're seeing the pressure is coming in for the people that are in the safe zone, and every time they kind of breaking down that brick wall as Rotary goes down and Plains goes down, and that's just all from distance, Shio. The AR bullet sneaking on through the brick here as Mosh is going to have to dip into the heels here to try to survive as Rotary is going to get it picked up by Link for a moment as Crown does go down. But again, that pressure from the inside of the safe zone is going to cause much more expense with the mats, with the resources. And that's what you're going to have to save when you get into the end game, because it's only about the victory royale.
These guys are inside the zone. It's going to be ticking for double now on their, actually effective white HP. We call it that green health bar. Look at how fast it's ticking down now. Rotary, I'm not sure if he has a med kit. He might have to pop it and run. Yeah, they have to leave him behind. Look at who's actually inside right on the zone line. This is what Rotary's going to be running into. MXR, Podesai, so many big names were rolling in from this side of the map. Look at the mini map on the bottom right. Everyone's huddled around the zone side. They don't want to make it in. They don't want to take more because it's risky. Podesai's not following that narrative. He's going to cross the street. Doesn't need to look both ways after it all.
No, not at all. And this is where you're going to have to start seeing a lot of play for heights are going to start developing here once it gets into that 5th zone. So already people are going to start vying for it. We've seen in the previous reboot round so many height pushes just out of nowhere. So let's see. We'll pay attention, Shio, as who has the mats to make the push, who has the peppers to make the push. But right now, Link, as a solo player, that's going to be a tall order for him to complete to get in with the victory royale.
Now we're looking at the freedom of movement for a lot of teams. We're talking about Surge, though. That next point is about to come up. There's 60 players alive. It needs to chop down to 50. 10 will have to go down. The Lightning will be striking on the teams that have dealt the least amount of damage. I don't think it's going to be Link because they just got into a fight, but you never know. I hope MXR, Podesai, and Wanlas are above their surge damage constantly. The reason they're actually in this reboot round, why I would say they're not inside the finals already, is they haven't been able to beat this surge at the 70 mark, at the 50 mark, or the 30 mark that comes in towards the end game. They've struggled at actually landing their shots and dealing damage. Now they're actually rolling through with it. Nice shots from Podesai and Wanlas together. Hopefully they get a little bit more. Still, they're gonna have to win this game. It's not just about fixing Surge, it's about getting that victory royale.
Yeah, and they came in 7th place in their heat, so they were really close to auto-qualing into the finals, which was top 6 here. Now we have Aaron on the right here making a dead side rotation. You have Podesai on the left side in the congested, so you're seeing the tale of 2 halves on how your rotation can be. Look at the safe zone, look at the circle on the left side. A lot of the north is available to real estate to kind of plant your flag right then and there. But now back to Podesai, who's getting a couple more eliminations. EMXR gets a couple more, but that blue antenna, that's a pretty solid spot as we have about 15 seconds to the closing to zone 5 is revealed.
Neko going down next to the box. That'd be big loot for that trio. All around there looks to be about 1 or 2 people who are getting eliminated side by side amongst god trios like Seti, Cammy, and Teak. They have a huge pedestal. Look at the colors in their inventory as well. Purple means very, very good, and they've got a close range pump to activate with. Teek's got an AR as well, a lot of shields, and that harpoon that can let you get more, but they're in chaos right now, a black hole of sorts. So many different types of utility coming through in their box. Dynamite, stink bows, explosives. Somehow they're all surviving. No one taking any damage. Stormsurge's not going to be a big factor at all. We have 48 people now. We're past 50, and this team's looking good.
And this is another trio that just fell short of all quality, 9 points or so. We watched it on the broadcast. We all know what they're capable of, but look at all the chaos that they go through. This is traditionally a low ground team. We talked about they're always being consistent, being in the top 5, being in the top 6, just trying to get as much as possible to rack up those leaderboard points. But that doesn't matter anymore. They're going to have to go for the victory royale, and that's going to be their accomplishment if they could do that, getting in.
Look at the decisions they're making. Team sprays on the boxes. They can identify solo players who are in trouble. Do you guys even need any more loots? Our Cammy said Teek just flexing right now. You got to remember, one of the reasons there is a God trio in Reboot is because they were having so many issues off of spawn. They're actually in the later portion of the game, and they're very, very good at playing it. This could be foreshadowing for them really just winning out the game. But look at Podesai, the other side of the coin, right? The other God trio, they're on high ground. This is a spot that really ends up taking games away. The low ground is kind of more difficult to do it off of unless you live all the way towards the end. They might have a huge pump up, but that all depends on the next 10 seconds where that zone pulls. There's another team all the way there across from height. It's gonna be 7 seconds here to decide exactly if Podesai is in a world of hurt or he's the ruler temporarily for the start of the end game, and he's not. A little bit of a pull towards the right. It'll be a battle between both teams to see who can come out on top.
Podesai is looking for the perfect moment to strike, armed with that hopper fish. He could definitely do it. If they want to go crazy, they could go up the zip line as well. But looks like AEMXR is going to go ahead and rotate as much as possible on the right, using the hard match so he doesn't get chopped. Huddy's trio has to do all that they can to slow down EMX from making this push, because all it takes is one moment, one knock from Mini's trio, and that's the green light that Podesai needs to take over height.
There's a lot of teams on low, but I want to focus on this fight on height. MXR, Podesai, and One Last will have the advantage for the first part. They'll be closer to zone, but then after that, Huddy, Rax, and Mini are going to be the ones who are a little bit higher and a little bit closer to zone. It has to be something done from MXR here. He's trying his best to take the shots down and win this high ground battle. It's literally 2 ships up in the sky. Podesai gets chopped.
Oh, they got chopped.
The whole base gets completely destroyed, and now their game looks to be in shambles. So many mats invested, all erased. MXR is desperately trying to win this race back and forth. There's 2 lanes right now, 2 vehicles, and now they're finally side by side on the same height layer, but MXR gets chopped at the same time as Huddy Riley. They're going to be off in a 1v1. Rax has control all the way of the high ground, and they're expanding like a virus. They take over, and there's no cure. No one can stop it. They have the tools needed to take over this game.
They have the tools, but the ammunition was expended so much to defend their high ground. Will they have enough to outlast the low ground here? That is going to be the question for Mini's trio, because we all know that Cammy, the Vatos trios out there, have the ability to withstand the height endurance and then capitalize and overtake at the last second, Shayo.
Okay, they're going to start running over. Marine's going on towards the backside. Big Sure to look at as well. He's going to be about 1 HP as Mini looks to find more people down below. Skype Airwalk's going down in the feed. Robab's dropped as well, but there's a height take going down for Mini. He's trying to survive. Rax has gone down right below him. Desperation for him. Jumped into the zone. Lots of matches. Big pump over. He stops things from trying to take it away from him, but he's lost one of his teammates. A flopper gained. Still more people up on height. Too much action for Mini. He's going to have to give it up. He's up with Hunty right now, but no. He's going straight back up again. It's Stasi all the way on high ground. 7 different teams alive. It's getting crazy at the moment. Everyone's trying their best to try to win the game. Mini is still holding all the way up on the height. He's going down now. Podesai's gone down in the feed. One Last is popping off, trying to make things come back. Mini somehow still has high ground.
Look at Cammy and Teek. They're still alive on the low ground on the left side, avoiding all the chaos. Podesai and One Lost down to a duo as well. It's all about who's going to get to the front side here to capitalize. Can Huddy and Mini have enough to be able to withstand here? Only 7 builds to get them into the finals. It is all about victory royale or bust right now. They're going to go ahead and do it. Mini's going to go ahead and capitalize. Teek's getting beamed so hard. Crack down on the low ground.
So close. Basically, every Trio's lost a teammate. We're looking at an FNCS duels right now. Hydro also hit apart. Mini's AR. Someone's got to check that thing. It's only hitting headshots. Hydro goes down. Zeston taken away from the feed. Cammy's on low on box-to-box situation with Stacks. If he survives this, it's huge. But it looks like he's taken down. Mini is just watching this qualification roll in for him. They're just taking shots down below. Everyone else is forced to fight. And it looks like it'll just be this duo at a very good spot for this final 1v1v1.
It's going to be intense here. 0 builds. They're going to have to time this. It's really high up. Here they go. Podeside defending himself with the hard mats. Can he do it? The impossible. There is another solo player as well, drawing the attention of Mini. Huddy is going out and eliminated. Mini now all by himself. Can Mini do it? They're at high. And Podeside, what do you have in your inventory? Do you have the heals? It looks like Styx is on height. All of a sudden, he had the advantage in coming from the low ground. Now Styx has an opportunity, the ability to jump in the river. Let's see how it plays out. Podeside, Styx. Podeside with no builds. He barely has enough. It's Podeside. Podeside going through with the victory out and 6 floppers in the inventory and holy 11 eliminations. And that's just the first reboot round game, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, he had the heal off all the way on the backside of Storm. So many floppers left in there as well. That was a huge potential for him all the way towards the end. A very smart off heal. And man, the high ground retakes were there too. I thought that Mini might have been able to do it, but the floppers rolling in towards that last second, Podeside had it all, Sancho.
Podeside had it all, and those were one of my predictions to go through. Let's go. Let's kick it to the desk for more.
I like this. I'm just like, yeah, that's my team. What up? Okay. All right.
One off. One off. Not the one. One off.
Well, congratulations to Podeside and the trio coming out. Boys, I really thought Minimock and his trio had it there. They had height for so long. Then they kind of put pressure on Seti, Cammy, and Teek's trio down there in the mid ground. There was so much that unfolded, but ultimately Podeside just having the floppers, having the patience to say, you guys battle it out. I'm going to see the Storm. I've got plenty of floppers, baby. I could do this for a little while longer, but, you know, long enough that I could get the Victor Royale.
Yeah, that was huge, huge, huge for them. Remember, they were fighting for height at 5th zone as well. And they were completely scuffed with really no loot after that because they committed so much to try and go against Mini's team there. And it was kind of poetic that it was almost the 1v1 against them at the end game as well, despite the fact they were both going so strong. But one of the things you know is that all those floppers that he had, Podeside still had 6 remaining, but he only had 1 once he was chopped out from height. So at that moment, he's obviously picked up so many eliminations on another team who is clearly going for a kind of heal-off strategy instead. So there's teams who are looking to do that heal-off strategy, and he says, you know what? Nah, Elim on you, and I'll take those loot instead.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really happy to see these guys make it through. They came 7th in Heat 1, right? They were 1 place away from being a team that qualifies through. And, you know, this is a team who isn't a great example of a team who had chemistry issues yesterday. It is an example of a team who the tension was high between them. Things didn't look too great. It almost looked like if they didn't make it to finals, they'd split up as a trio. But now, you can maybe put those questions aside because they will be playing in the FNCS finals next weekend. And I am really excited. Maybe I've chosen the wrong friend's trio to make it through, right? Because those guys won that game in a great fashion. Really fun.
It was super, super fun. Now, in case you're just tuning in, you missed out on game number 1. Don't worry. We've got some replays. We've got some of the highlights coming out of that first game to relive those moments.
Yeah, you remember, this was Mini on height. They'd managed to maintain that literally the entire way, trying to do some crazy mechanical retakes from him as well, which was so, so good. But remember, Stacks almost put such a good play. That one wall that he put to his left managed to save his probably entire game. Obviously, they didn't end up winning, but it managed to save him getting through above Mini. But really huge, huge play from them. It was really nice just to drop down to low ground, focus up and up. But remember, Podeside had the floppers. This was such a good play from him to see him right at the back of the zone, because now you can see Mini getting pressured from above and him now being able to spray out Stacks. And Stacks, because he's on such low white HP, cannot go back and hold those builds, so he has to fall down. So the play to go right back into the zone was so, so good.
Yeah, these guys were ridiculous. 11 eliminations that game, and in a session where eliminations aren't necessarily the focus, it is sort of telling in how these guys really came out looking to try and dominate things, looking to grab the win for themselves. They have a total combined 5 FNCS final appearances. They're only going to be able to add to that experience, right, this weekend. So really great stuff.
That's right. And we can see the top qual placement there, 16. That was from the qualifiers, and the heat placement of 7. So they came super close, as you did just mention. Boys, this is crazy. This was a fantastic first game to kick off the reboot round. And to think we have another 2 matches out ahead of us. It is going to be absolutely insane. So, okay, Podesai, they're gone, right? This means we have 32 trios coming back in. How are we feeling going into game number 2?
Look, so good. The game was started a little bit slow. You know, you never know this player was going down here, this player was going down there. But as soon as it hit 5th zone, the 2 teams were on height, ready to go. And this is where their heat really kicked up. So I'm sure the same thing's going to happen in the next 2 games too.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the big thing to watch out for is they won that game landing Stealthy Stronghold. So now Stealthy Stronghold is uncontested. Somebody can walk through and claim that POI for themselves and try use that to go on to win another game.
We'll see. Real quick, let's touch on predictions as we gear up for game number 2. Has anything changed?
Nope, not one thing. Look, I'm still optimistic. One of our trios that we predicted will make it through. So hopefully we can see that happen in these next 2 games. If not, who cares? It's Reboot Round. It's so hard to predict anyway, right?
It is. And remember, Sancho, it's always one of my predictions, but it's not your prediction. It's not your prediction. It's one of the other ones. Come on, sleeping on Michael, Mexi, and Verox here.
Wow. Listen, Sancho just lost the sauce at the moment. Okay, he's just excited, like I am. You know, it's hard to see right now, but it's okay because all we have to see is the gameplay, the action that Sancho, West, and Shy Wager will be able to present to us. Because it is time to go back into game once again. It is match number 2 from the reboot round. Don't forget, whoever wins this match, they're going on to finals. Nothing else matters, just the win. Let's get ready for game number 2 of the FNCS.
Thank you so much, guys. Sancho, you want to clap back to Reese there for a second? I'm gonna let you have the floor here, man.
All I gotta say is one of my predictions got in. I thought they did really well. Congratulations to Podesai. I'm gonna use my time to thank the trio. You know what I'm saying? It's not about me. I want to give the congratulations to Podesai for making his first appearance in the finals today. That's what the reboot round is all about. And at the same time, Shao, we are in uncharted territory. The first time ever, a second reboot round game going down here on the FNCS broadcast. Let's see if Teak, Seti, and Cammy, who were so close, I just feels like they're the so close trio this season, bro. They're so close.
MXR was one of them, and now he's basically graduated off that tag. Seti, Cammy, Teak last game were looking so good all the way on low ground. Didn't win that last 1v1 they could have had, and they could have been the team with all those floppers as well, winning the reboot round. And alternate reality, things could be very different. But right now, we'll have to roll with the same old, watching them off spawn with their glorious drop, seeing exactly if they can replicate what they did last game. Podesai's not there. If they're on low again, they should be able to win.
One of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of the trios are essentially trying to find those prime real estate areas. And that's why we saw so many collisions, Shio, at the mountain, right? Why were all those trios sitting there on the south side? Because if zone pulled their way, they were expected to have that dominant high position, but it didn't. It pulled all the way on the north side. So that's so exciting to see so many trios are already playing for the win, literally by zone 2. This is a great trio that I like as well. Lunif, Moraine, and Slicks. I mean, we've seen Lunif and Moraine. Moraine been back in the Chapter 2, Season 4, you know, contesting Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson out there in Stark Industries. So Moraine, we all know his championship pedigree. Let's see all of that they can lean on to get them into the finals.
Yeah, Lunif and Moraine Slicks just looking really good all throughout. You know, when we were tuned into them on one-handed update, but they're gonna have to see if they can make it back today. Sweaty Sands, obviously a very powerful drop. We saw the way that top teams split it out on multiple different regions all throughout the FNCS. They're not gonna have zone for this game. It's going towards Dirty Docks. That means that this fight that we saw disengage in game 1 might actually come down all the way to the final bullet. Bayon's already built up. You can see, yep, there's the map, the drop spots, the zones. It is Dirty that's in the bottom right of it. It's towards the top right side of the entire Fortnite island. A lot of teams will have to move.
And a lot of teams are going to have to move, and a lot of them are going to be going early to the hot spots. The Zate Hill, which is the scenic point. Also that Spire, the Guardian Tower that you see. That's going to be a good spot to look out for. And of course, Colossal Crops.
Yeah, Strengthy Stronghold was the spot that won the game last time we just tuned in, the game just before. This time there is a different trio who has landed there. Maybe they're trying to replicate exactly what Podesai did. Is that a harpoon?
What?
What happened to Paco? What?
To the moon.
I have to. I'm trying to think. It has to be a hot flopper combined with a harpoon pull because his HP is like 25 less. But that's crazy. This man is a rocket ship, and there's the effect. The hot flopper lets you jump higher, but if someone pulls you away too, you're gonna be separated from your entire team. Snagged on the left side. He's afflicted too. Drop down on the fork. That man gets chopped away. Chico now is gonna be one of the last people alive in this. I think 2v2 or 1v2. He's taking his shield away, but a big shot back on the snagged. Paco's jumping in from the backside. Jimkey's coming through as well. He finds Paco. Now it's a 2v1. The entire game is in Snag's hands. He hits the one pump, but it's not going to be enough to actually eliminate that body. Looking for it again. Not his wall. Another bad shot received. Harpoon from the top side. It's so monumental in this fight. It's ripping away builds and shields. Snagged, 180'd and taken away. They will not make it off spawn.
Whoa, Chico just three-pieced them, dude. Chico did it all by himself, man. That's a name that's taken out some big names in the EU region. What a great play by Chico.
Kind of a redemption story from the qualifiers. The last semifinals as well, we saw Jimkey just tossed around over and over again. This man was eliminated, and every endgame was carried on a different trio's back just to get, you know, completely siphoned and get all his materials taken away. This time, he's the one rolling in from the flank side. He's landing the shots, and then Chico's cleaning up. They've cleaned up their entire, way they're approaching the game. I hope they go all the way towards the top as well.
The top is that all that matters. Already Podosai punching his first time ticket into the finals. The top gets you in. It's guaranteed and essentially money. I mean, we're talking about, I believe, 3,000 just for finishing last in the finals. So these are $1,000 games that are on the line. And as Levin said, it's just back to the roots of Fortnite. If this is your first time tuning in, there's not about points. It's not about your placement in the previous game. It's just about who's going to be the Victory Royale winner at the end of the game, and we have 2 more to go, including this one.
Michael Verox to Mexi. Same type of situation. No eliminations on them right now at all. You can see the zeros across the board. That means this engagement did come through. I don't see exactly where Diablo ended up rolling to, though. They're gonna get shot above from the big mountain. That's where they were last time. That's where they got a lot of their early game action, that first team that they eliminated. Here's Castry, Vortexers, and Swite. They landed over at Stealthy Stronghold, where we just saw Podosar won last and MXR win the first game. Can they replicate what we just saw in the first game of Reboot Round?
Yeah, if the kind of replication in the previous round, that is Mini's trio that use Flopper Island so well. They use Fish Island to get all their resources, and that definitely got them as far as possible, just falling short into that situation, making that top 3. But we've just seen how, all the play for height, we could kind of butterfly effect it. If we rewound that game 1, Shayo, essentially they had height, but they had to defend their height and they used a lot of their resources. And because Zone didn't bounce back in any kind of way, it didn't give him any kind of room to breathe or rest, it kept going forward towards Steamy Stacks, and that expended all of their mats, and they had no choice but to drop on down. And they had the advantage in the numbers game, but just not enough in the resources.
Not just yet. We'll see if they can come back in this one. Vortexers, where's the one last life? He's actually building all the way up. He's fast. Looks like he's eating peppers, but I know he doesn't have them. It's just the action of rolling in first. Now these guys are going to be held back. No Stormline here this time, but once again on defense, and it didn't work out last time either. So they're going to have to flip the tables here or fall to the same fate they did in game 1.
It's all about survival. It's all about clean tags, trying to save as much resources as possible. We all know as it gets closer and closer to the end game, you don't have the ability to replenish unless you get an impact frag. Stena, Rayed, and Robas goes ahead. I believe that's Rob, goes up and top it. And now they have the high ground. And they're not leaving. They're going to sit here as long as possible.
The reason each team is basically looking for high points or trying to engage in on the fights once again is because of Surge. We're going to have to be looking at 70 people alive by the end of the second circle. If that's not going to happen, then lightning will strike on the ones that have dealt the least damage. Right now there's 93 alive, so that's 23 different people that need to go down. Only 1 trio has been eliminated so far. Everyone's playing it so safe, like they've learned everything from that first game. Mini Here we go. Second place last time. Now looking to possibly get first. It was an easy ride, I feel like, in the game before. They didn't have this much of an issue moving off spawn, but because Zone is on their home turf, so many people have rolled in. Sinks is here. He wasn't really before, and they're not on height anymore. The Racks, the Huddies, the Minis of Craggy Cliffs, they're actually inside the town, covering in fear for any trio rolling in.
Now you're looking at Hydro, Zestin, and Bagfy here on the defensive stance, trying to hold out, dipping into their hard mats. Almost goes to edit, but he pays the price for that edit. Gets tagged just a little bit. As now we're seeing the Crown Trio. We saw them get eliminated around the mid game now, being a little bit more aggressive. They have to be careful because Cartoon's now in distance. And now Hydro just backing up just a little bit more, creating a little bit more space. There's about a grid of boxes in between these two trios. No major tags just yet, as now Crown is in trouble here, is in shambles without any kind of shield here. And now the zone has been revealed and they're gonna have to move. So many trios are not in the safe zone for this moment, and that's why the shots just pause for a brief moment and decisions are being made.
This is tough for Hydro. They were rolling in last game as well, looking to be somewhat towards the end game. They got 5th in game number 1. They were very close. So many eliminations. We saw Zestin popping off in the feed. And once again, there are no points to talk about. It doesn't actually earn them anything but the experience from playing that first round Kirby. Cartoon and AMK, we saw them just play yesterday in Heat 2. They were looking so good overall. They won a game. They were clapping back. They were coming through so close towards the end of the day of being top 6. But it wasn't possible. They have the experience. Back in a fight as well. Plains, Darvik down bad. Hydro's actually traded out as well. Zestin taken away. It's all up the back feed. He can't land the final shot. A golden tack will not be enough. Crown will live to see another day. But there's a full different trio still beaming into his boxes. He needs to get the cards. He needs to get that reboot off as well. Keep his team's dreams alive.
What an impressive defense there from Crown Trio. They lose Plains right there, but Crown Trio's proving they're a hard out. But too many wounded right there. Now they're gonna have to find a way to reboot, and you're already seeing that there's just no possibility right now to have that handle. So I don't know what can Crown do as a solo. And yes, you nailed it right on the head there. Cartoon Trio were so close to qualifying, and we all thought they had a chance. But they were right there with Bato, and they were also there with Seti on the same type of rotation, on the same side of the circle here, and they just fell short.
So close.
Oh.
Man, the arrow in the elbow. That's gotta hurt. Kirby.
Let me tell you the tale of that. Yes, the arrow in the elbow.
Only 2 trios gone down so far.
That's
87.
Man, for the amount of action, right? The amount of action they tried, the amount of bullets that have been slinged back and forth, for the amount of builds expended, you would think that there's more trios, but it's just showing you a lot of people are just trying to be as calculated as possible. As you see, Vixie trying to save his teammate with the harpoon play, and Zinni just misses out. So now Zinni and Fixie are gonna have to do this as a duo, and they're just above Surge, but I don't know if that's gonna be able to survive as 17 people have to go down, and now they have lobby focused a little bit.
Trying to roll in, get the reboot, get a little bit of the builds as well. It's not gonna be possible for Fixie. There's so much pressure from all sides. Everyone's
like
looking for the damage. They're on Stormline as well. There's so many teams here.
There's like 4 teams looking into this scrum right now, looking into this hold, Shio.
There's one box to box as well. Leon, Fleck, and Diablo are all the way up top on the right side too. So some teams have taken hold of prime spots. It'll be a while till we see exactly what rolls over though from these positions. Zone still has a minute to lock in.
I'm trying to think of the people that land and they're in the safe zone. The team out of Steamy Stacks, Malibuka, who is always going there no matter how many people and how many trios land there. Let's keep an eye out for Malibuka, as he might have a strong position at height at some point, or already based up. And oh my goodness, save it going down in the feed.
That's just rough. Another trio fully eliminated for the moment. I was thinking about Savage trio as well coming into the day.
Yeah.
Usually these are the moments where they get the one-off wins. Not possible. Vato, Airwalks, and Skype were another big, point of contention as well. Last game going down, I think around this moment, second, third zone, might have been Surge. We just saw another big team go off in the feed too. Rotary, once again with Link, not going to be able to play this game. I'm not sure what it is. The pressure might be too much. The zones might not be in their favor, but these big trios aren't staying locked in.
Right now, we're locked into this engagement right here that's happening on the south side of Dirty Docks, just a little bit south of Bato's Trio here. So Bato's Trio has eyes right here. Leo doing all that he can to get some sprays in just to get another advanced grid box right now on the trio that's holding their defense. Leo, ZQ, Robaz, all pushing in. Look at their inventory. It's just so important they withhold. And look at that. Almost paid the price, but what a great turn of the fate right there from Leo, able to catch that. They have a lot of heals to withhold this, but now they're on Storm Surge as the other team was desperate. And they pushed through and they paid the price. Pixel, the only one left in that fight.
Leo with a moonwalk shot going backwards and hitting the 180. It was so clutch. Zeke will be picked back up. They'll be good on Surge for now. Leo and Robabs will jump right back in. They don't want Pixel to have any breathing whatsoever at Dirty Docks. And there's limited time for this. Zone is going to be moving in about 35 seconds. These guys have a long journey to go through, and a lot of other trios who are listening to this fight. Look at the arrows on the left side of the map. They're all looking towards this Dirty Docks fight as well, waiting for it to resolve. ZQ finally picks himself back up and gets a little bit of heals down to the board as well. They'll be able to move now. The question is, who actually will end up watching them? Will they be affected?
Robaz knows that Pixel is going to be kind of like a fly on their rotation, that he's going to be a gnat, that's constantly going to pick at them. They're going to make them use up their build. So that's why they're doing all that they can right now to get Pixel out so they can have a clean rotation going forward.
They're also majorly just allowing ZQ a lot of time to heal up. If they get the Elam, if they don't, it's not that big of an issue for them. Once again, the points don't really matter too hard. If Pixel even tries to be a fly on that wall, these guys are already buzzing, electrified. There's no chance he'll be able to fly by them whatsoever.
What matters is how much floppers that they had to use in that exchange. They had so many going right before all that scrum went down, and if they expended a lot, that's going to be their win condition, possibly going into the final moments at in-game.
Yeah, a lot of people will have floppers the whole way through. I don't feel like you're hoarding them now to be able to use them in the 9th zone. You want to make sure you're using those flops, getting the elims and the chains you need all the way towards the end. Then you'll find the bodies, some more fish to pick up over there. But once again, it's just about making it all the way there. Floppers just heal you up, let you play around the storm. So Robab, Zero, and ZQ have a little bit less time to do that entirely. They're about to run into Airwalks, Vato, and Skype, both looking to rotate from Dirty Docks. Skype, Vato, Airwalks left about a minute and a half earlier. They didn't really get into a fight. And now these guys are basically at the same spot from two very different stories this game.
Yeah, Vato, they don't want this fight. Vato trios, they don't want it. They'll take the tags if it presents itself. But we all know this is the kind of trio that just kind of stays around. All of a sudden, no one's paying attention. They're sneaking around, making the right positional plays. They're just going to watch and spectate here. They don't want any action. But this over here is all action.
Yeah, Jimkey, once again, might have to be the one to come through on the flank. Chico's not going to be able to save the whole squad this time. Kira's going to be the one to take him out, I think, from a distance. There's 3 different trios involved in this fight. Hefty's down on Kubix's side. I don't see Jachu anywhere, so it might just be a solo operation there. It's not a win-win for anyone, though. Ro's taking damage. Connor's also less HP. This is the only trio I see alive with Mick the Beast down below. The other ones just keep fighting. Hefty might be able to get the revive off. There's a standoff amongst so many different bases. They're all just waiting to see where the zone locks into. It gets even stuck more towards the middle. We're going past bridges and rivers to see where new bases will be. Vato, Airwalk, Sky want to move over, but keep their mats always refreshing 24/7. So they'll farm along the way. Look for beams backwards as well as they move towards the circle. No one's really taking big bases in there just yet, though. We have one team at the gas station, see on the left side of your map. We have so many, though, yet to move in.
The only team I would see have a great advantage here in Zone 4 is that Cyan, like a muted blue down right next to the bridge. It's the most high ground they have in this zone here as we're rotating through, about to get to that half in and half out, half in the storm and half in the safe zone. And that's going to be a big factor here, because if you hold on to that height in the half in and half out going forward, your chances go up to about 70 to 80%. And that's what that matters here today in the Reboot Round Game 2.
Skyvault to Airwalk still working down below. Leo, Robabs, and CQ rotating right beside them. Seti took a big shot right above them too. 3 big teams based up beside each other. Michael, Mexi, Verox all the way across the way as well. They're taking big damage. Mexi taking about almost 0 HP. I think one of those guys also went down, so they're having trouble. No, Michael's almost down. A sliver. They're fighting against Blackie. This is Dirty Docks versus Lazy Lake on rotation. Verox finally going down. There's so much damage above Surge. They have everything going right for them. It's just this fight that's affecting them. The beam goes back towards Blackie, but I don't think they can really save their game. Verox is left way back in the storm. He's down and taken out, and these guys have been eliminated, eviscerated too.
18 HP, and they're just showing the desperation the haymakers were going through, and they get knocked out by Blackie's trio. Now we saw for a moment, Shayo, that Vato's trio was below Storm Surge, but they're very comfortable operating here. I've seen them plenty of time in all different stages of the FNCSB here. So right now it's vital for them to get Blackie, and they find them some big important, but it's not going to be enough. They still have more work to do. They got to get the rest of Blackie's trio to get above, yes, above Surge as well, to get this team off their lair.
I got Blackie too. 129 damage above Surge for the moment.
There
on the right side.
There we go.
5 people need to go down. I see Eric go down in the feed. Kenya as well. Ewan and Wisep are left as a duo down below. They'll be sticking on the sides of Skype, Vato, and Airwalks as they move. It'll be a very tricky rotation with a duo out for revenge.
And at the same time, Wisep is going to be below Vato. So if Wisep makes a move, Vato's going to, but it looks like Vato, they're going to go in. They're going to finish that fight. They didn't want anyone near them making their way of movement. And now we're seeing that who is kind of investing in height. And right now, Slicks' trio, along with Lunef and Moraine, are sitting really solid, but there's so many people down below that could go for the chop. We already saw one trio in the previous game get chopped out. And when you get chopped out, that means that's it. You're right for the height. It's over throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, those guys who were battling were so high. This base is fine. Slicks is staying ahead of damage. He's already up, but he's trying to just look good, saving a lot of that AR 500 to play a part of the rest of the game.
Vato's trio picked up Wisep as well.
Nice, nice. So a big pickup on that back fight. Cammy's right below. Lanoof, Marine, and Slicks. These guys rolling in from this high base from Sweaty Sands, they've already invested so much. I'm not talking about builds. I've seen 2 of their inventories. One spot's already missing. One mini in Lanoof's inventory or Slicks' inventory. They've taken a lot to get to this point. Do they have enough steam to win out the game? There's lots of trios who haven't really used their inventory. Seti, Kemi, and Teak are one of them. Down below who have a big chance. Bayon going down in the feed, and Fixie goes down to Storm, it looks like.
I was just looking, Lunef's kind of base that they're holding on is very weak. Yeah, it's built out of metal, but there's not that many right there, and there's so many trios fighting in it, Cobra and whatnot, that this could come down. So let's keep an eye on that engagement. Fly, Frozen, Jaeger doing really solid. Mason, I'm sorry, are doing really solid here. 2 eliminations in, but it's just so many people here on this rotation that's going to pull down to the southeast, and things are going to get a little spicy, and Fly gets hit. He's going to have to dip into his heels, eat some cabbages, brother. You have a lot of work to do to survive, as we have 14 trios still alive.
And take a little bit of a bucket cabbage to make sure you can heal off in the storm, but that's going to be a big issue for that trio behind with Jaeger. Look at height, though. No one this time to really contest them. It's going towards a mountain. Ryan, Loof, and Six will be there, but look, Huddy Riley, Mini, and Rax, they're fighting for it again. Seti, Kemi, Teak are tired of staying on low ground, too. They're working their way up. It might be a 3-way fight here to see who controls the skies, but Robabs has found his way in there too to be the 4th. Seti, Kemi, Teak are starting to build up. Slicks, Marine, and Lanoof might end up going down here because this base is not connected and it's so far away built.
And keep an eye out for Vato's trio. They're slowly recycling these builds, and they're making their way up as right now Slicks is going to do all he's trying to do and hoping he can connect to that blue antenna. Seti and Teak on the front side, Robaz as well, and Leo on that front side as well. But it's all eyes are on Slicks trio as they have the upper advantage on the rest of the lobby, as it's going to be compressed down by this verticality.
Their job is just to contain everyone else for the moment. Not even get eliminations, but make sure no one's looking up. Leo down. Airwalk's going away in the feed. They found a way to connect over to this big antenna. If Slicks can do it, this will be huge. Look at this huge angle and this tarp. He can see a sideway view of the whole lobby, basically finding hacks on a platformer. He gets to play from a different dimension and world. Look at the beam Skype being taken down on different layers. So much pressure from this height team. Kira can barely even survive. What a big decision from Slicks.
Yeah, Slicks is looking good, but look at their build count. Not a lot. If this goes any towards Dirty Thoughts, it's going to be a big red flag for this team on height. As Seti's sitting down in the mid ground, he's a little bit high up too. So this is going to be so scary going forward.
These guys were touching the earth, but the zone has made them go all the way towards the sky. It's pulling away from the mountain. Lanoof, Slicks, and Marine are getting higher and higher. Big potential for danger down below, as it might not have enough materials to waterfall, but I see hot floppers. The pocket technology basically available for them right here. They can jump off, not take fall damage, and then rebuild again.
It goes
to
back.
be able to have height. It's bouncing back, so they have even more time to shoot down.
Oh, no!
But Slick slips, falls, and is taken out. Robabs is going to be able to have all his AR to beam back above. Marine and Lanouf are left as a duo.
Look for Cammy and Teak to be able to capitalize this situation. We've already seen Hyde expended so much builds here, but Cammy, Seti, and Teak are in full force as a trio, and they're looking really good going up against Malabuka's trio as well. I would say Cammy has the advantage, and the advantage is kind of capitalized with 114 tag looking really good. They have to cut them off. They have to end this engagement quickly to be able to focus on Hyde here, but they have the advantage considering that the zone is kind of pushing Malabuka closer and closer to their beams.
Right now, they're looking for their kind of gatekeepers. The zone's finally pulling towards Dirty Dogs, so they're gonna have to actually
there
get
goes
off
Teak.
this
Yes,
mountain. Is
Teak.
what it looks like. Teak is gonna be able to get one elimination here so far. Cammy has to move on their builds, but it's actually pulling them towards the top left side, running towards the ground, on the earth, in the dirt. Seti, Cammy, Teak, all inside the same box. Pressure coming from up top. 3 different teams for the moment. They have to stay secure, but their builds are running low. Marine and Lanouf, it's not over yet. This could be their win. It's all that matters. Malabuka left as a solo on the backside. He's eating zone and pumps from Teak. Marine is looking for a way in. Any desperate way. Can they find a way to affect this trio? He's going for it, looking for the shots. Drops down below. There's nothing on the right side.
Moraine has so much heals right here. That's his win condition. He just can't get forward to get any tags. Teak and Cammy right now versus Marine. Let's see. Teak looking for the big tags, doesn't get it. Marine backing up with no builds, walking down the mountain. It's up to Cammy and Teak to close out. Fall damage goes through, and Marine goes back up to Height, but Teak is taken out by Marine. Now it's down to Cammy with only one flopper. He's doing all that he can for the chop. Not a lot of ammunition. The finals are on the line. He slips down further and further. The So Close trio is trying to do all that they can. Marine now dipping into his heels. Can Cammy find a tag? A headshot is all that he needs to go through. Marine, the defense. This is it, Shio. It's coming down to the last moments.
Oh my God, 1 HP on both of them. Cammy is not the one to be able to survive all the way towards the very end. Marine drops down, finds the bullets in the final second on HP as a duel from Height. It looks so close. The clap back on 2 people. The clutch, I think, of the EU. Marine has done it.
The champion, right? The DreamHack champion has returned to the pedestal and will have an opportunity to play in the finals alongside with the rest of his trio mates. But wow, what an unbelievable, heartbreaking finish right there for Teak's trio, Shio.
It was so close. They rolled in towards that final shot and spot. I want to see what the analysts and the devs thought about it. Zeke, Levin, and Reese. That was a clutch finish.
Oh. Okay. My stress levels through the roof. I mean, you know, it's once again, it's one of those games, right, where you're looking at it, you're like, oh, this is it. Yes. Seti, Cammy, Teak, yes, this is your moment, baby. Oh man, I got your seat right here on the battle bus. Oh, come on through. No, Lanouf, Slicks, and Marine in those moments, man, going down to also just having floppers on both sides. What could have been, but still, Reese, Levin, these guys secure themselves a spot on the battle bus.
I mean, firstly, Marine also won the solo cash cup right before this, so he's been performing well in everything today, popping off a little bit, which was really good to see the comeback. But he got those floppers from picking up, I think it was Seti, potentially Teak. I can't remember which one went down a little bit earlier there, but yeah. So the floppers actually transitioned from team to team. So there was definitely a huge misplay on like Cammy, Seti, and Teak's team. So that's such a shame to see for them. But huge congratulations to Lanouf's team as well.
That finish was insane. That's literally everything you want out of a reboot round game. Like, it's literally the seconds are ticking down. They're both taking storm damage. Who has more floppers? Who's gonna hit the shots? It is, like, my brain can't even process it. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there watching. I'm hoping Seti, Cammy, and Teak to win it. They're all 3 of them are up, and then they start running low on mats. But the team on Hype, Mariah's team's also running low on mats. So it comes down to like this really awkward finish where you can see there as well where Seti's like scrambling to try and farm some mats, any sort of brick he can get. It's Fortnite, man. Fortnite. It's a beautiful game, isn't it? It's just everything we want was just wow. I'm happy for them though, because they will get a chance now to play in the finals, and you know they clearly deserve it after winning in that fashion.
Yeah, that last game was absolutely insane. I mean, just kind of this back and forth like you're talking about, moments of hesitation, almost missteps, right? But all in all, once again, Mariah and his trio, they're going on through. Yeah, I just can't believe this went the way that it did.
Yeah, you can see the 3 floppers that Mariah actually ended up getting. We already mentioned that. They took that heist so early and took it all the way through. But bottom right, you can see Cammy struggling with the materials, as Shai already mentioned, using anything he can in this peak. But look, this one shot here could have made the difference. He could have, if he managed to connect with over 50 damage shot. But it just unfortunately was not good enough. But let's take a spotlight on our winning teams, Lanuf, Slicks, and Mariah, who absolutely dominated it. They had 11 eliminations total, the same as game number 1. But across these teams, not only that, they're so experienced that they have 7 finals appearances across all of the FNCSs through this team.
These guys, is that another 11 elimination game back to back? Maybe
2 in a row. 2 in a row.
11? 11 2K will confirm 11 wins. 11 eliminations will win you a game. Look, you know, you talk about the experience, Reese. To be fair, you know, they've not been amazing this season. They just haven't. You know what I mean? They literally just haven't been amazing this season. That's the reality. And although they have the experience, although they did decent in their heat, they came 7th in their heat. It's not been spectacular. And so there were doubts about whether they'd be able to actually make it through. This is a breath of fresh air for them. I'm really excited to see how they now perform in a final.
And we'll get to see that next week. But real quick, before we jump into game, we got to check the predictions once again. Did any of our trios make it through? Not quite yet, but this is a good opportunity, boys, because this means in this last game, one of you could be correct. And maybe it's Sancho. Maybe Sancho could finally have his day in the sun. You know, we could give him one. Maybe it's going to be Reese again. Levin, have you won a prediction yet, Levin?
No, he hasn't. No.
Man, that's crazy.
This season I haven't, but I have in previous seasons. Don't wait.
There you go.
Don't do me like that. We're not going to do this here in front of the thousands of people watching. Let's not do this here. You know what I mean? Come on.
You're right.
You guys you don't give me my flowers when I deserve them, but now you want to put me out. What's this about? What's this about?
I see I have opened an old wound. I'm gonna go do with this. Let's go back into game number 3 with Sancho and Shy Wager. Guys, one last game. Let's make it count.
2 games down. The energy is high as ever right now, all across the desks, the casters, the people watching, and the players as well. If you're checking out their socials right now, they're popping off and going crazy, Sancho.
Oh, that's what's going to come down to here is one shot, the last dance, the 11th hour to get into the finals. It is the one trio that will be number 33rd here. It's all going to happen right now, right in front of y'all. Don't go anywhere, because it's about to get spicy.
Big contention over at Stealthy Stronghold. It looks like 2 teams off drop. Snack, Steelix, Paco running back in. A little bit of an OG season 5 type beat from them. This used to be one of their old spots. Big spray from Steelix. No shotgun. He's going for it again, but White has the big close range gun to fight with. Castri's coming in from the backside as well. You get that final pinch. Swipe low HP. Snack trying to do it. No builds either. Actually has 5, but isn't using them for now. He's focused on this elimination on the swipe. Trying to take the shot, drops him down, and doesn't have enough damage. They're wiped out. And their dreams for the moment over. Castry, Vortexers, and Swipe, they get to live for the last game.
And this is an important engagement because you get access to all the fishing spots. And that is what we've been seeing. Floppers being a key factor for the Victory Royale and a key factor for all the Camiseti and Teak fans, as we all know. They're just there. It's just right in their reach. A couple more builds, a couple more shots. As Reese pointed out, one shot would have got them in. But that's what it is, man. There's a lot of success and heartbreak when it comes to the FNCS. And we're watching it all unfold right now.
They have such a big chance. The first game all the way inside that end game in the top 5. Last game, 2nd place. For that team that just made it through with Lanuf, Marine, and Slicks. What a day for Marine, by the way. Cash Cup win into rolling in and ending up, you know, qualifying for the FNCS finals. Like that is nuts.
The one thing about the Camiseti and Teak is if this was a regular FNCS, if this was a set lobby, they'd be like, yeah, you did it. You had a top 3 finish in that 2nd place. You're doing really, really well. But all that's been thrown out the door with this format here today when it all relies on the VR.
Three Dogs fight will kind of go the same way. I think these guys are finally meeting up. towards the backside. They've kind of seen exactly how things are happening on the top right. The map will be towards the bottom right side of the map this time. I think still good for Sunny KMET, good for Michael, Verox, and Mexi as well. The fight is breaking out here on the top right. Lots of builds invested. Verox, Mexi, Michael.
The one thing about this engagement is they know that they were landing there, Shio. Michael knew that they'll be here. Diablo knew that they'll be here. So this is all kind of planned out. That's why you're seeing the kind of like the same thing over and over again. Team going back there to their defenses. This is what they've all been practicing against. It's a matter of executing right here in the high stakes match.
Crown down again, the cartoon in the feed. Getting into so many mid-game fights. That was kind of the story of them in the qualifiers as well, but elims over games just won't matter. It's only about the win. Good frame from Michael right now in terms of having options on loot. He doesn't have the most powerful weapons, but he right now is getting all the chores done for the trio as they distract Fleck and Diablo and Bayon. They have a lot to farm inside that building while we see Michael rolling around the docks. Meanwhile, Sting, Stasio gonna be up against Rayad again. Both these teams have always such big potential and have gotten one-off wins during qual weeks or one-off high performances. It's not the most consistent, but it's definitely a pattern that could win you reboot rounds. I'm wondering why there's a sudden stoppage today. We almost saw Stasio in game number 1 take over Sinks. Oh my goodness, there's a boat involved in here right now that's wrapping on his builds. Rayad's looking straight forward with an AR as well, and Stenna is close by to make sure shots are going to be punished if they try to look for any from Stasio's side of the fight.
By land and by sea, Rob's trio is pushing Pax's trio so aggressively, and now they're fighting for these fishing spots as well here. Stenna does get Pax there. I believe that was with a kind of a hit with that harpoon, as Stenna does go down here. So this is going to be a nice advantage for Stenna to move forward and as well to continue the ride for that play for the finals in the 79-72, back-to-back 86. Done. Gone. Stenna looking strong here right now.
So basically for the wildcard trios who always end up winning off one game, it'll be Stenna, Rob, and Rayed who actually roll on by. Not that much competition left towards the north side of the map to be able to loot out. You saw how important those fish were. We saw Moran use them to make sure he stays alive in the storm. We saw in game 1 as well, you know, Bodasai rocking back and forth and making sure he has enough HP to take that final fight. So look at the inventories, look for the fish. Neku has a few. Rayed will be fishing up right now towards the north side as well. All the rivers here, big potential to make your team have that win condition for endgame.
And at the same time, you have to execute. You know, med kits, popping the flopper, then the med kit, even popping any kind of heals, maybe a bandage could be the thing that gets you in. It's all coming down to these final moments. It's all happening here. And Link Rotary, another like high class trio in the EU region. Some of the fan favorites have an opportunity to go ahead and go through. Right now they haven't. We saw them in mid a little bit in the last game. Now it's Plains Crown, and they're trying to reboot Crown again. But like this kind of teams, man, they could get hot. We've seen them take out big names in previous rounds. So Rotary Trio does not want to be a part of that, as we've seen another EU favorite, Savage Trio, right now in his scrum against the big names of Kubix.
Kubix, Kefi, Jochu having trouble. Usually Jochu being the one taken out earlier as well in previous games. David last time lost the fight bad. It happened almost instantaneously. Crizzy does not want that to happen again. Gonna be rocking in for a few pinches on the Kefi. Gonna be looking like a 3v2, but they're gonna be careful about it. Rifle moving all the way up top, making sure there's no way they can kind of get popped back or surprised. Jack in the Box peek though from the bottom side. Kubix, the huge shots. He's gonna have to heal up, leave Save it in a 1v1. He does enough damage though to kind of make it even on both sides. They're looking for fights still right now. No chances or sights of disengagement. A free cone for Rifle to take. Kubix down. Kefi now in a 1v3 scenario. Lots of shields taken away. Save it actually being clapped on the backside too. Trade away on Kubix. Can Kefi actually work with this timing and get back? No, he's gonna have to heal up. That 50 pot will take 5 seconds. The revive will come through. Crizzy will watch the walls as Rifle picks up Saved. And this is looking so bad for Jochu, Kubix, and Kefi's chances of making the FNCS finals.
Kefi may have bought himself a little bit more time here while knocking Saved. We got to see what does Kefi have in his inventory to create such a wallop of a punch here. Saved, Crizzy, Rifle trying to join his Become Legends teammate and Slicks into the finals here for this brief moment. No other trios in sight. So this is going to have to be concluded right here, right now. They spotted out Keffy. Keffy's going to have to back up here. Cluck's not going to be able to help Keffy. Cluck's just on the outside. Fixie moving on through. Keffy just trying to find that right-hand peak, that God-tier shots, but no, not enough. Gets found out by Rifla.
Look at the treasures they have from this. 50 pots, blue tactical shotguns that they can use to possibly upgrade around the map as well. And yeah, 7, I guess, is the lucky number for H as well for people who are winning. Besides that, though, patterns can be broken inside the reboot round. The team I'm thinking of right now, I think the entire community is on that page too, is Seti, Cammy, and Teak. 4th in game 1, 2nd in game 2. They're basically halving their placements over and over. What's the half of 2, Sancho?
1.
Exactly. Is this the game that can roll in and ride by a legendary trio looking to lock in their spot for the finals? There's only one left, and there they are for the moment in the middle of the map. Artskill, ZQ above them. They have the same strategy all the time. Good mobile bases, basically setting up trailer parks, spots of intersections around the map. No one can really drive by or walk away for free. They get their tags. They survive till the end game, but they don't get the clutch.
It's just so close, though. I mean, what can you ask for? They were going as a full trio at the end game right then and there. It came down to those last couple of moments. It was a great height retake by Marine, was able to go back up there and afforded him just the leverage just to be able to pop those floppers. Some high tier level of play, some high tier movements, the small movements, the details are what getting these victory royales in these intense hot water situations.
They're looking to be more active right now. Zone's a little bit further away from them. This is actually the worst I've seen them inside the mid game too. Arrow to the chest right there.
Oh no.
For Cammy. He'll be able to heal up. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. He'll move on. The trio's actually moving ahead of him too, giving him room with the ramps to walk around with as well. There'll always be trades back and forth. Teak will roll. Their job is just about staying ahead of zone, working on position, using everything they can. Getting refreshes for these guys, no problem. On the move, elims, no problem. But setting up for a VR, they're just such a consistent trio. They're used to playing for that top 3. Pushing past that limit, going plus ultra will be what they need to do in this game. And it's the last chance this season for them to hit that stride.
Diablo, Bayon, Flecken, gonna have to dip into the time machine and recapture the glory they had. Previous reboot round winners doing all that they can to recapture the glory here. They got so close, they had opportunities here. In the previous round, they got a victory royale. They were looking really solid, always in that top 10. They just slipped out of that top 6. So many storylines are developing here. So many trios who've had some heartbreaking moments. So many trios having clutch moments here. Being 36 below.
Nope.
Now, okay, there we go.
You gotta let it simmer.
You gotta let it simmer a little bit.
They literally wait for us to say something about Surge, and then they fully did it. I swear to God.
Got him.
Oh, no, yeah,
they're looking
really good.
Yeah, they're
243 damage. Michael in front of them, though. Look at the other teams. You know, I'm looking at the top predictions rolling in from just the community. Michael Mexiverox was one of the big ones. Skype Vato. Yes, absolutely. Another. And now this looks a little bit more like their qual weeks, right? Looking towards Caddy Corner, seeing what the heck is going on this side of the map. See Bayon, Diablo, and Flecken. They've kind of moved over from Dirty towards the southern portion to try to get a little bit of an advantage over all these hills, but they might be down on Surge. A big fight happening here. Looking like high ground retakes on an end game. Skype will wait down below. Cheeky shot on the Flecken. It's just 37. It's not too much or too big. Airwalks has the pinch, though. This fight is sky high. A double up with Vato and Sky. They've singled out Flecken. Diablo has to roll in and help out the boy. Airwalks, though, up in the sky. They have height control, and this should be a fight they're looking to win.
Yeah, they're definitely looking to win, but they're looking to wrap it up as fast as possible, of course. Sky, Vato, and Airwalks have now a moment here, the advantage. Having that high ground advantage, Diablo, Bayon, and Flecken tried to go for that high ground, of course. Expended a lot of mats because they had to close the gap distance. So right now, I would say Diablo's trio is in trouble, more so than Airwalks and Sky and Vato, because they just held their ground.
I can't imagine that we have to watch one of these teams basically, or even both, not be a part of the European finals. That is just so heartbreaking to even think of, because they're both so good in their own right. They have such unique ways of bringing things to the table in competitive Fortnite. Fleck and Diablo Bayon so aggressive. Vato Sky so good at getting towards that end game consistently. Both these types of play, passive and aggressive, have to clash here on this mountain in this final game.
And they're clashing because of Storm Surge. That's why Flecken's trio is making this big push. Now they're looking for the chop. They're doing all that they can, pickaxing the brick to get up, maybe find an angle to peek with a big time purple pump there. So far, now they have it for a moment, but the Storm Surge now is ticking. So the pressure is on. Their backs against the wall. They're gonna have to call on through as fast as possible. And Airwalks knows that trio's in trouble.
You absolutely know exactly what's going down. They were wondering, was it Surge? It was. Flecken gone. Diablo says bye-bye, and Bayon, the last nail in the coffin. Skype, Vato, and Airwalks passed one test. But man, unfortunate to see the reboot round winners from last season not able to make it to the finals in season 6.
It's like every strike of that purple lightning, it's a strike on that nail that you mentioned, Shayo. Bang, going right in. Another one, bang. And Airwalks, Vato, and Sky knew exactly what was happening. They wanted to wait it out. As Cammy picks up a knock in the feed, Huddy gets a knock as well, and Micah. So that trios are still up. We've seen so many trios reach that final rung, get up close to the mountaintop, and they slipped on down here. 2 trios have already gone through if you missed out, and they have been fantastic finishes, and we're expecting another chaos finish right here in game 3.
This is looking bad for the players in specific. This is one of the toughest zones to actually navigate in Fortnite. Of course, in EU, it has to roll towards this side. Mountains in the way. If you're on high ground, it's dope. Holding it in the beginning is so much harder because you don't know which way zone is bouncing. After the fact, staying ahead, if you make a millisecond of a mistake, you literally lose the game to anyone else paying more attention. This is the most dangerous spot to be in for the end of a game to try to win in Fortnite.
And not to mention Slicks, he fell down at that end game. Remember, just the moment they had all the advantage too, and all of a sudden you put yourself at a disadvantage when you fall off the builds. But luckily his teammates there was able to capitalize and clutch.
Yeah, and that last game where Slicks fell down, that was just one mountain. There's like 3 to 4 to 5 involved over here, and you never know which one is going to jump to. We got valleys in play now. We're not just going to be seeing people run off entirely on a mountain. They're going to be run off and then cut off again by another. The entire environment is so treacherous here. Michael, Verox, Mexi, they'll find a way to actually base up on this one for now. I'm not even sure if this is entirely in zone. It might not even be in the next one. For everyone here, it'll just be surprise after surprise, especially inside this town of Lazy Lake.
Lazy Lake filled with so many basements and places where people could kind of hide out as long as possible, ride out, and not have to expend a lot of their matches, rely on those natural defense that the buildings do afford now. Zone 4 is about to be revealed. We're about the halfway point of the game now, and 23 trios are still alive and still have a chance to get into the finals, as Zone has now been revealed. And right now, Michael Verox are looking really good, but more importantly, Vato's trio on the bottom right are looking very good to get that victory royale.
They're kings for now. A lot of other people will have to use a lot of materials to roll in. I'm wondering exactly where Seti Kami Teak are. They were towards the north side. If this is the case, they might have a max pull the whole way. I think this is going to be the first time in the reboot round that's happening. They've been blessed with zones so far. So I wonder if that'll impede their performance. Mini's going to have to leave town for the moment and get in. This is a team that's very aggressive at going towards height. It's going to be so difficult to do it this game.
Sound the alarm. Everybody has to leave town. Evacuation started. Lazy Lake is a no-fly zone. Everybody get out.
Absolutely. And they're all going to try to now. Everyone understanding that, you know, with no Elam points, it's just the win. There's no chance in taking fights here. They might have to actually tag for damage. There's Seti Kami Teak moving on the left side. Blocky Wisep. This is their home in Lazy Lake. Have to be evicted. They're trying to move into Pickles up top. The man who never actually ends up going down. Also inside Lazy Lake. Mini, Huddy, and Rax. Let's look at the POV of the team that's basically been on high ground twice now in the reboot round, but not been able to close out the game. They've been learning from mistakes. A big jump into the box of Frozen, but don't find the tags needed to get the elimination. They'll keep moving higher and higher, maybe even taking over to stack some. A little bit of hesitation from Huddy, and that might cost them. Many dropped a few layers. They could have height there if Huddy just kept going. But literally a half second of delay, and now they're left in a spot they weren't planning on being in. Dawn going down. Now you're seeing the traffic collide. This is a dangerous game for anyone that is not very confident in the calls they're making.
The next 50 seconds are going to be a crucial stretch here for every trio playing for high. As you see Chico now sitting on top of this man-made structure here. If that half in and half out pulls south, everybody here, folks, is in trouble.
And we're only focusing on the urban developments of this game. Towards the mountains, there's a completely different game. Gods basically sitting on thrones up in the sky. If the zone pulls towards the south, none of this stuff will matter. All these mats used by Huddy, by Chico to get up top. He only has 28 left. If they don't get blessed, it's over.
Here we go. 9 seconds. 7 seconds.
They're not even above Surge. 9 above. They actually need to take damage while they move too. Now 200, it comes in. One of the players got a huge shot off. Might have been a headshot snipe. They get it. The whole lobby gets it. Oh no, Skype Vato airwalks. There are those yellow arrows on the right. Michael, Mexi, Verox too, they're all gonna have to move all the way back in. This is the focus though. The majority of teams on the lobby, there they are. They've actually already rolled in. Wow. Airwalks are on the right, save it down below on the left. There's someone with Storm Surge in the middle of the builds. Lots of developments, but at the same time, lots of decisions for people like Stena, Vortexers to move in, people who are outside the town. Well, everyone's gonna have to get there. Ammo has to be reserved too. Endgame is about to begin.
Stena's trio has to hope that so many people are distracted. Cassidy in the same way is going to have to wait for this trio to make their way forward, because look at the chaos that's happening. Michael's trio is making some insane ramp pushes, sending all the mats, and this kind of play right here is all or nothing, Shio. All or nothing, and sometimes that's what it takes to get your way into the finals.
All for what? Because this is not even height. They're just trying to get into the circle. Below Surge 2, and they're ticking slowly lower. It's like there's a leak in the faucet right now from 90 to 54. Now back up to 84. Swipe going down in the feed. Rayed picking that one up. Mexi, I hope you're in zone. Jimkey's the one all the way on height. Chico's in a good spot right below them though. Shadowing the high ground team once again. Cammy, Steady T, Cuddy on second height as well. Oh man, this is going to be a very, very tricky zone to actually hold height. Fork is actually investing a lot to make sure they're staying super elevated, but is this too high up in the sky?
You have to do all that you can. Sometimes you have to play outside of the box into the sky where the sun is shining, and Fork trio is sitting there. If Michael pulls that first moving, they have opportunity to hold and maybe chop out Chico and Fork and Jimkey. Let's see where it goes here. Zone 6, the first moving is going to be revealed shortly.
Michael Verox Mexi, we're trying to build all the way up. You saw the response all the way from high ground. Teak, Steady, Cammy, looks like they're out of shields, out of extra spots in their inventory as well. I was saying they're good on refreshes. Let's see how they actually do it, because they need a major one to stay in this game and to make it to finals. There's just one spot left, one game in the reboot. It all comes down to now. Everyone's moving away. We see lots of people turning towards the backside. Fork's big base, it worked out towards the end. They have height for now.
Every single trio that was in that section, Michael and Chico, it didn't work out. The zone pulled away from them, so let's see how they traverse this high ground together and move on through. But you're seeing it. All of a sudden, there's a play for height. Hold on. There's a hop over. It's Airwalks and Bot, though. Can they do it? Actually, Huddy using the power of the Spicy. It's a battle between Airwalks and Huddy. Skyte's right there to support them. Skyte's doing all that he can to get up. Minnie's out on the front side. Huddy is going to do all he can to stop Airwalks and Skyte from getting that height. This is all or nothing right now on the line. The victory out could be right here, right now. Minnie and Huddy defending Airwalks. He may have it. Yes, Airwalks has it, and Scotty's gonna do his best to get in. Can Airwalks, an old school name, using the power of the pepper, win? Oh no, he just fell, and Blackie now has it.
Blackie almost has it. He can definitely try to fight back. Skype goes down in the storm though. Zip and Blackie get the lazy leg zone's height. Ewan's up there too. They're gonna start waterfalling down and trying to play. Airwalks has to live as a solo player. Ewan goes down though. Another slip up on height. 29 damage above. Storm Surge is coming in too. Two people need to go down. Fork down in the feed to Vato. Lots of people updating up inside that Elam feed. Rojo being taken out by Blackie as well. As they move forward, Rifla has overtaken height again. The 5th time in this game that height changes hands. No one's giving up for now. There it is. Save it, Chrissy and Rifla are back with a vengeance, but the game is not over yet. There's tons of low ground teams. Mexi, Michael, Verox are one of them. Down by the river. No chance for error height. They're looking for big shots around all the way. Teek's being taken down in the feed. Naku's also eliminated by Mini as they roll away. The zone is pulling up, though, it seems like, and Mexi's in trouble on the builds. They'll have to find a way to get out of this tough spot. Seti's right beside them too. Low ground is way too over congested, and that's almost the last of Mexi's builds. He might also already have to get into the heal spots, but Rifla, Savid, and Crizzy look so good on the high ground. They're the only ones up there forcing everyone else onto the same layer.
It's not over yet. We still have one more zone to go. The ultimate closing, the last opportunity and chance to get into the finals is coming down to this moment. If Crazy could find some big builds, that was huge. That Harpoon play may have sealed their fate, and they may have the opportunity to play for millions of dollars here, Shio.
One spot left, just one zone to go. Saving Crizzy Rifla all the way up on high, but there's so many trios in between. Some solo players too. Said he's only trying his clutch spot. Stax walks right by him. Cartoon goes down to Stax inside the storm. Rifla, Crizzy, save it. They won't stop. Stax barely gets to survive because Rifla runs out of ammo. Seti popping off, takes out Michael, but gets traded. Their run is over. Verox also going down to AMK in the feed. Mexi picking up by Save It as well as they're on high ground. Rifla is clearing the way, so this team has a good chance of staying on height. 1 minute left to go, and then we get into the heal zone. They have medkits, but they are oh so high. There's a big beam coming in from Frozen Jaeger and Flies down below. AMK in the back. He's healing near the river, but he's run out of floppers, it looks like, for now. Trying to find his way up. 1 second, and he's taken out. We have a final 3v3 in this last zone to see who qualifies for the finals in Europe.
It's coming down to the Save It's going to make the dive in to try and get some elims now. Save It gets a big knock right now, throwing out the stink fist. The stinks are going through. Save It put a lot of damage down and opens up the door for his teammates, and they did it. Crizzy, Rifla, and Save It get the last victory royale and the 33rd spot into this season's finals.
The guys who are always in to win those clutch games. Save It rolls it away in the 3rd round of Reboot and wins it for his team, dropping down solo flare on the clutch as well. Throwing stinks and shots back and forth. That was amazing to watch.
To knowing that Save It all throughout the social media kept saying like, no, I got this. I believe in myself. We're going to do this in the entire season. Everybody rooting for Save It, and for Save It to put it on its back, to dive on through, to cause so much damage. Let's go, Shio.
We got the final 3 teams now for Reboot. What a performance from the whole team to retake hype for the 8th time. That's it, though, from me, Shy Wager, and Sancho West. We're going to toss it back to the desk to break down this amazing Reboot round.
You will never see someone clutch this hard. You will never see someone clutch this hard. David, Crizzy, right? You will never.
Wow. Bro, we're literally in the bag watching this game, and as it starts to happen, we are freaking out. We're calling out the things the casters are saying. We're just like, this is happening. There's no way they lose this. Levin, you've got to do it. Wow, in the final moments, the control, the precision, the understanding, the mechanics, literally everything funneled into one moment in time. And they say, that last spot to the finals, that's ours. I love to see it, Reese.
Look, a lot of the people underestimate this team, me included, a lot of times, saying they can't win games. They're really struggling winning games, but you know what? They took pure advantage of exactly everything they needed to there. The height was fitting between Mini and Vato at that moment. Their fight going on over and over, scuffed those 2 teams, and they took the perfect opportunity to notice that this fight was going on, look up and say, hey boys, we're a full trio. We're coming to take that height from you. And that was the play to completely win the game from there on out. It was so beautifully played.
Look, I'm just so happy for these guys. You look at Savid, who's been one of the biggest talents to come out of EU, but he's never been able to really, hit that final stage. He's never been a player where we've got to see him perform in a final setting that much. Same thing can be said for Crizzy, another young sort of talent coming up in the scene. We still have yet to see him on that big stage. Things didn't work out for him last season. Now with this trio, things will look rocky, but look what they've been able to do today. And even for Rifla, right? He's just had to witness his former teammate of a long time make it through in game 1, right? Him and Slicks used to be the sort of duo that was, playing with each other all the time. And so to see now Rifla and Slicks make it through, but on separate teams, Rifla will be so chuffed with that. Congratulations to all these teams. What phenomenal games. Everything we wanted and more.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I want to note, right? Game 1, one last Podesai MXR. Go on Podesai's Twitter. I swear. Go on Podesai's Twitter, Podesai FN. He has his live reaction to him winning. It is so, so good. Same with our Game 2 winners. If you go on Slicks, which is Slicks FN with 2 N's, he has his win on there as well. Incredible. You will get chills watching from these people's perspective. It's a bit early, so I don't know if Rifle has got his ones up yet. With Crizzy, potentially Savid will post that. Look at them anyway. These reactions, what they do is absolutely amazing. He is streaming. You're right. He's streaming. You can go watch the whole game if you want. You're right. But let's take it back. Let's take it back to Game 1. Mini on high ground. This was what it looked like, but no, this was Podesai's game to win. And I can tell you, I have watched this many times from their POV, from their Twitter, and the hype is so good for this moment.
You know, the energy that you get from these sort of moments, it's magnificent. It's electric. You know, it's something that can't be faked. It can't be replicated except for in these type of games. And, you know, we're always looking for the big game players. Who are the players who can come out and do it when it matters most? Marian's done it in before on Land at DreamHack. You know, he's done it today in the Solo Cash Cup. And he was able to do it again in the reboot round, coming down to these final sort of seconds. Look at this, right? You know, the clock is ticking. You know, he's losing HP every single second. He has to drop down there. He has to hope that he can connect with the shots. It is just so nerve-wracking to watch these sort of moments. And honestly, like, to think that this is going to be topped in the finals, I just can't believe, you know, how amazing these sort of 2 weekends are of Fortnite in terms of just the levels of excitement that we get.
One thing you forgot to mention about that Game 2 is that 2 of those teams are sitting in the same room as each other, currently landing in together. So that's got to be an interesting environment where one team wins, one does not. But going through the last game by Savid, Crizzy, and Rifla, this final moment with the stinks was absolutely beautiful. Obviously, Prob should have stayed high ground, but Savid, like you mentioned, is a guy who knows he can hit those shots, has a reputation for having some of the best pump shotgun aim in the game, clearly in EU right now, putting it to use when it matters. So good. I love Reboot Round. It's fine.
Save it, man.
It has been so fun, guys. This has been so fun. But you know what this means? That with 3 matches done, we are also done for the weekend. We now know which 3 additional trios are moving on the finals. And next week, 2 days of competition, 6 games on Saturday, 6 games on Sunday. And on Sunday, we will crown FNCS Trios champions. What an incredible time. Now, if you want more action, don't forget, we're going to be in NA East, NA West later on in the day. So if you want more reboot action, come back. You don't want to miss it. Of course, follow these guys, follow Shy Wager, follow Sancho West as well, because all of these guys are absolutely incredible. Fortnite fam, it's been an honor and a pleasure hanging out with you. As always, we love you. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you on the Battle Bus. Beep, beep.